All right, welcome back to Newsmax Now. Chicago's police superintendent Eddie Johnson has now responded to President Trump's blistering criticism of the Windy City. President Trump called Chicago an embarrassment to the nation, and here is how Johnson responded.
The national narrative that Chicago's a city on fire is just simply not true. You know, getting caught up in negativity has just never been something that I do, and I'm certainly not going to do it now.
Yesterday, President Trump slammed Chicago and the violence that we've seen there recently, as well as Johnson, the city's top cop.
It's embarrassing to us as a nation. All over the world, they're talking about Chicago. Afghanistan is a safe place by comparison. It's true. You're entitled to a police superintendent who sides with you, with the people of Chicago. The people want this.
All right, joining us now to talk more about this, Chicago-based radio talk show host Charles Butler. Also with us, the former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke. Gentlemen, great to see you. Let's take a look at some of the stats that President Trump quoted yesterday while he was speaking at the International Association of Chiefs of Police convention there in Chicago. Here's what the president talked about. Just in 2018 alone, 565 murders. He also referenced Eddie Johnson specifically since he became police chief in 2016. About 1,500 murders, 13,000 people shot. President Trump also talked specifically about the weekend of August 2nd through August 4th. 7 murders, 52 people wounded, and 32 shootings across Chicago. So first to you, Sheriff Clarke, what is the truth when it comes to the city of Chicago? The police superintendent says it's not on fire, but I think those crime stats would say otherwise.
Sure they would. Look, Eddie Johnson is clueless. He has no idea of what he's doing. He has no plan to get this under control. I've never been to Afghanistan, but I've been to Chicago. It's only 78 miles away. I get there frequently. I know some of Chicago's finest on the police department. Look, you know, where's Black Lives Matter? All right, where's Bobby Rush, Congressman Bobby Rush, who's called the Chicago police the enemy of the people? The president is spot on. I'm glad that he's bringing light to this thing, because everybody else in the liberal media, the politicians in Chicago, are whistling past the graveyard, while in many instances, good law-abiding Black people live in these war zones. There's about 5 neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. It's not the entire city, but you know what? It's too many. It's where most Black people live. But I don't see Black Lives Matter showing up, advocating on behalf of the good law-abiding people living in these neighborhoods.
Charles, you live in Chicago, even though I see that Michigan banner in the background. I know you're celebrating that win over Notre Dame. But we talk about the city of Chicago. Eddie Johnson made a conscious decision not to attend this giant convention in his home city when the President of the United States was there. He probably could have avoided some of this flack he's taken from the President had he just shown up.
Yeah, he could have. But at the end of the day, I think Eddie's a good guy. He's a good man. But it's more of the politicians. You know, we've been a sanctuary city since 1985. This is a city that has allowed gangs to control huge parts of the Black community since the 50s, and no one said anything. It's a way of life. When I moved here in '97, I could not believe that gangs had city contracts. They were treated as a political entity in these Black communities because they got the vote out during the vote time. They were part of the Democrat machine, and nobody really talks about that. That the criminal element was part of the Democrat machine. You know, John, Sheriff Clarke, and I know Sheriff Clarke, and we've talked before. I can tell you, I have said that every member of the Congressional Black Caucus has a area in their congressional district that is a war zone. I worked in several war zones here in Chicago when I worked for WBON, and I can tell you I carried a gun to work every night because my life was threatened, and the police told me to protect myself.
Yeah, another thing President Trump talked about yesterday is the fact that Chicago has some of the toughest gun laws in the country, yet these shootings still persist. And we talked about the president, and there's no love lost between President Trump and the police chief there, Eddie Johnson, but also with Chicago's mayor. She had no problem dipping her toe into this controversy here. Here's what she said. Sheriff Clarke, about President Trump's speech yesterday. Quote, "It's no surprise that Donald Trump brought his insulting, ignorant buffoonery to Chicago. Luckily, in this city, we know the truth, and we will not let anyone, no matter how high the office, denigrate who we are as a people or our status as a welcoming city. It does seem, Sheriff Clarke, like nobody really wants to take responsibility for this issue, so it will persist.
It's an interesting statement from the mayor as the black victims of crime and of being shot and other instances of violence stack up like cordwood. Look, she's in denial. She's got her head in the sand. I know what she's trying to get at, but at the same time, she needs to have a sense of urgency about what's going on in these black neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. She should have asked for, from Eddie Johnson, as soon as she got sworn in, a plan to reduce the violence, put a timetable on it, and said, look, Superintendent Johnson, you got 6 months to show improvement in the crime rate in these neighborhoods over here, or you are going to be fired. But like I said my opening statement, these people are whistling past the graveyard. They're deflecting. They're basically, like I said, in denial about what's really going on in Chicago. And I think it's a shame because I bring this out and I think it's important. And I'll say it again. Many of the victims are good, law-abiding people. They may be living in poverty. They may be unemployed. They may be undereducated, but they're just trying to get through life. Tyshawn Lee, last year, 9 years old, gunned down in a gang crime situation. And then when the trial came, they didn't make an arrest. They couldn't even get the witnesses to show up in court. They had to go out and get body attachments and hold them in jail to testify in court. That's the culture change, the cultural rot that I talk about, the cultural dysfunction that goes on. So it's multi-pronged here, but I'll tell you what, there is a way out. But as long as people are living in denial about it, nothing is going to change.
No, it's an excellent point, Charles, and you know this, and you know this from your time in law enforcement as well, Sheriff Clarke, and I know this from working as a local news reporter. When you go into these blighted communities, even in the worst communities, it's the exception to the rule when you find somebody who is taking advantage of the other people that live in that community, and that is what seems to be the biggest problem with Chicago. As you mentioned, Sheriff Clarke, and the question is really to you, Charles, these are a few terrorists in the city of Chicago that are destroying it for the whole city, and they seem to be enabled maybe by the current administration in the city and past administrations as well.
Yeah, definitely past administrations. But I tell you what one of the things I coined a term, urban terrorists, and I identified these urban gangs as urban terrorists. Now we can go to Afghanistan and Iraq and take out urban terrorists and warlords. How come we can't do that in the city of Chicago? They could eliminate the Black Panther Party here in Chicago, but they left intact the Black Stone Rangers, the Peace Stone Nation, and lately the Bloods, the Crips, and all these other ancillary groups, MS-13. They should come in and wipe these people out. However, as Sheriff Clarke pointed out, what they will say, the politicians will tell you is, this is mass incarceration. We're putting more black men in jail. They're criminals.
Right. It's clearly when you put politics in front of public safety, this is the result that happens. And President Trump called it out yesterday, and I know guys like you are applauding his decision to do so. Great to have you both on the program again, as always. Former Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke and Chicago Talk Radio host Charles Butler. Great to see you both. Thanks so much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.